Coming up next on Tech News Today, Fitbit has officially acquired Pebble's assets. Also, tweeting emoji to Google is yet another way to search Google. Crowdsourcing the development of space poo technology, how to get kids interested in learning to code, and birds with lasers and 3D printed goggles for science. All that and more coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1656, recorded Wednesday, December 7th, 2016. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by LinkedIn Learning and Lynda.com. Develop talent and keep skills current with expert-led on-demand e-learning. For your free Managing Technical Projects course and to request a demo for your organization, visit learning.linkedin.com/twit.
And by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you fresh, high-quality ingredients to cook delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping just by going to blueapron.com/twit.
And by Tracker, a coin-sized tracking device that pairs with your smartphone and keeps you from losing your most valued possessions. Visit thetracker.com right now and enter promo code TNT to receive a free Tracker Bravo with any purchase.
Welcome to Tech News Today. This is a show where we talk about everything that happened in technology, and we talk about it with people who are passionate about technology. We are the Thelma and Louise of Tech News. Thank you to JS who sent this. And he says, we drive the tech news off a cliff.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Yeah, that's right. We do. Proud of it, too.
Yeah, I'm Megan Maroney.
And I'm Jason Howe. We're going to drive some tech news off the cliff right now,
off
in
the
fact.
cliff. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're driving the Pebble off the cliff.
Yeah. The rumors are true, my friends. Fitbit has swallowed up Pebble. Both companies have formally announced that Pebble will shut down and fitness company Fitbit will buy Pebble's key assets. The acquisition excludes hardware, but it does include the company's talent and intellectual property. Those will now be the property of Fitbit. According to an email I received this morning, Pebble Time 2, Pebble Core, and Pebble Time Round Kickstarter editions will not go into final production, and all the backers will receive refunds. I don't want a refund. I want a Pebble Core. I was really looking forward to it. It was $70. It was a 3G connected clip. It was going to free me from my armbands and my hip pouches that I use when I'm running. And it was going to free me from those text messages I get when I'm running too, because I wouldn't even have to bring my phone. I would just have the Pebble Core.
And what would the core be doing? I'm trying to remember.
It would be tracking my run.
Oh, just tracking.
And
tracking.
And it would have music that would send wirelessly to.
Dang, that's a pretty nice sound. And
I know, for $70. I mean, I can have music on my Apple Watch, and it can send and it can track.
But it's not that.
No, you were also going to be able to control the Pebble Core with your voice, which I also could do with my Apple Watch. But that was only going to be $70.
And that's not happening anymore. Yeah, this is sad, right? Warranty support is done. So if you have one of their devices, no more warranty on that. Support actually can only be found in the Pebble forums. So, that's where you're going to have to go to look. Software updates are finished with. No more software updates to your devices. All of this is unsupported. Basically, today it's like, cutting off access. Well, cutting off the feed of anything new, but your device is still going to continue to work. They say at this time, Fitbit actually says some functionality might be removed in the future. So the clock is ticking. Pebble, sorry.
Get it?
Yeah.
So they say that Pebble's expertise and their culture and their philosophy will continue on with Fitbit. That was what some people were worried about.
By means of 40% of the employees from Pebble coming over to Fitbit.
I guess that's what it means. Yeah, and terms were not disclosed. Bloomberg said it was around $40 million, which, as we said earlier when we reported these rumors, that is much less than what Pebble had been offered in the past by several different companies.
Yeah, so all that money's just going to filter right into the hands of debt holders, paying back equity investors, that sort of stuff, to pay back that debt, basically.
Yeah, so I tweeted about this. I retweeted someone's tweet this morning about how backers will just get refunds, and I noticed that my retweet got liked by somebody who using the hashtag Make the Pebble Core. So there might be like an uprising of people wanting to actually make something like the Pebble Core somehow.
When was the Pebble Core supposed to hit backers' hands?
January.
January.
Next month.
You have to, I mean, this close, you have to imagine they have that hardware in some capacity.
Well, if they didn't, I mean, that could be why they.
Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it. And,
yeah.
and probably this has scaled, backwards. This has been in the works for a little bit of time. So if this was their plan all along, they would have, canceled kind of production of that behind the scenes leading up to this anyways. And you're only hearing about it now. But it would be a shame if they had really gotten to this point to where they actually had a sizable pile of this product and it will never see the light of day. Collector's item, if that actually exists. So I'm sorry you won't get your Core. Sony is getting more serious about mobile gaming with its announcement of a new take on tabletop card gameplay called Project Field. It's a dedicated smart pad that's meant to pair with a smartphone or a tablet that allows physical cards to interact with and trigger on-screen gameplay mechanics. NFC technology is used to detect card placement and movement throughout the game on this pad, and cards will be read-write ready, meaning game progress as well as character growth can be saved to the cards themselves. This is only in Japan for now. Apparently, there are a few other technologies in Japan kind of like this. For example, Nintendo has its Amiibo cards that have NFC chips that are used in its game Animal Crossing. So this isn't the first time that you're seeing something like this, but this is Sony's kind of take on the popular kind of gameplay mechanics of something like Pokemon, and trading cards or whatever, and kind of closing the gap between the physical and the virtual.
So what are the chances that a lot of people will want to bring like these extra these extra cards along with them with their mobile device? Like I just can't see like carrying around the cards with your pad, your game pad.
I mean, I think I don't know. I never really had as a kid. I never really had was in on the card trading craze, unless you count Garbage Pail Kids. You probably don't. You probably don't even know what those are.
I know what they are, and they do not count.
Okay. Well, that's about as close as I ever got to the whole card trading thing. Pokemon was obviously next level stuff, and that's still pretty popular, obviously. So I think this is really targeting children who are in on that sort of gameplay. And if there's something that we know about kids and something that I'm learning about my kids with something like Shopkins, if there's a collectible aspect and trading and all that kind of stuff, they get really into it. And I think that's what this is kind of capitalizing on is kind of allowing Sony to have a piece of that pie and kind of, create a product that allows for all of that money that's being generated around, this kid's fascination with, trading cards and that sort of stuff and bring it into the technological world.
So would you call this like augmented gameplay?
Maybe. Yeah, that's not a bad word for it, actually. It's kind of similar because it definitely crosses that gap and it takes that physical thing and merges it with something digital. So you can imagine having these pads. It tracks where you're placing the cards on the pads, and that directs the gameplay that you see on, let's say, the tablet that's out in front of everyone that has their own pad surrounding it. So it's kind of like this mixture of like board game, card game, but also with a digital component out in the center. So it's an interesting combination. Sony also, actually, real quickly here, announced that they're bringing 10 smartphone games 10 smartphone games are currently in production of old properties from previous PlayStations, including Parappa the Rappa, which I remember, kick, punch, it's all in the mind, and Hot Shots Golf, which apparently is called Everybody's Golf in Japan. So it seems like Sony is kind of doing a little bit of the thing that Nintendo seems to be doing right now, which is at least touching, getting a little bit further more experience in the mobile world and not just being so specifically zeroed in on their console history.
Was Parappa the Rapper before or after the Garbage Pail Kids?
After. It was PlayStation 1.
Okay.
And it was fun. It was apparently because it's stuck in my brain up to this day. It's a good game. I would love to play it again. Maybe I will.
Let's talk about something more serious. You can now search Google just by tweeting an emoji, and you'll get results nearby. I found this out by reading Mashable, and when I tweeted a cookie emoji, it gave me a list of bakeries nearby, which is great if you want to feed yourself some cookies, and even greater for Google, who would like to pair my location with nearby locations and then feed me ads about things I want, namely cookies. I also tweeted it the alembic emoji. Are you familiar with the alembic emoji?
I'm familiar with a bar that was once called the Alembic. It was really great with lots of whiskey and stuff.
That was the first thing that came up when I looked at it. Not when I tweeted it, because nothing came up when I tweeted it. But we do have the alembic, a link to the alembic emoji in there. And it is a spherical vessel with a long downward pointing neck used for distilling liquids.
Oh, okay. All right. So then that makes sense. All right.
But when I tweeted it, I wanted it. We actually have a gin distillery right around the corner, Griffo, and it didn't know that. Maybe now it does.
Well,
I don't know why the video
Google can't know everything. That's why it's doing this, so it learns more, apparently. I, of course, tweeted the poo emoji.
Yes, you did.
Because that's when emoji happens. I'm there to go with the poo, apparently. And I ended up getting, it's funny that the media is not playing for you, Kara.
It's a GIF.
But, oh, yeah, there we go. I got flowers. And basically said, need a breath of fresh air. It didn't show me any local flower search, though. Actually, if you click on that, does it show you? I didn't actually
you click on it, and then it shows you all the
flower shops. Floral design.
Yeah.
See, it knew what I needed to balance the poo.
Yeah, it did. So the cookies, pizza shows you pizza shop, hamburger shows you hamburger shops. I would just keep trying emoji, but then you tweet this out to all your followers, and then people are like, stop it, Megan, and they unfollow you because they don't want to see what's nearby you, or maybe they do want to see what's nearby you.
Oh, I think, well, I'm curious. If somebody in a different location clicked that link, do they get their results?
Oh.
Because I doubt that I'm hoping, actually, now that I think about it, that it's not tied to where you are, because then everybody knows-ish where you're at.
Well, your tweets say that anyway. Your tweets are already, like, you can, it says location.
If you share your location, you might not.
I share my location. I'm an open book. But maybe I should stop sharing my location. Thing I learned today. But what was my point that I was trying to make? I lost it.
Poo emoji?
No. I tried to direct message. Like, I tried to see if I could direct message Google. Yeah. So it would just be, on the down low what I was looking for. And you can't. Because Google doesn't follow me, apparently.
Google. Come on, you got to follow everybody that follows you, right? That's not how I work. That would be really, really noisy. Pandora's new paid streaming service was shown to a small group of reporters and VIPs at an event in New York, and it's called Pandora Premium. CEO Tim Westergren said that premium in this case means personal, and to that end, it integrates the many thumbs ups that users have offered to the service over the many years that Pandora's been around to tailor its experience, including taking, as one example, taking orphaned playlists that you might have and suggesting additions based on the Music Genome Project, based around the things that it already knows that you've thumbed up, is that a word, and liked over the years. So basically, Pandora says their search isn't based on popularity like it is with other services. It's personalized for every user based on what you've told the service that you like or don't like over the years. It's all kind of revolving around all this input and feedback that you've given Pandora. So, like at the end of an album, it might autoplay related similar music that it thinks you would also like, all that kind of stuff.
I am a fan of Pandora. It's my favorite music streaming service. Maybe that makes me a simpleton, but I'll accept that. So I use Thumbprint, Pandora's Thumbprint radio, which seems a lot like this. I mean, it's basically since I've had Pandora for the last 6 or 7 years, it knows all the thumbs up, everything that I've thumbed up. And so basically it's like shuffle, but better because it's newer stuff. And yeah, I like it a lot. They didn't give a price. No. Probably it will be $10 a month like every other streaming service. And I mean, I almost think it doesn't really matter anymore how good a streaming service is. The real key is like, can I get it on the devices that I'm using? So I think that's part of why I love Pandora. I can get it on my iPhone. I can get it on my Amazon Echo. I assume, you know, I can get it on my Apple TV. I can get it on my Roku, you know.
Yeah,
so,
Pandora really is everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know if that'll change in the future, but I hope they survive because they really, I mean, the Genome Project was awesome. Like it was really, that technology was the first. I don't know. I just remember in the beginning being like, how did it know I would like that? And I like it so much.
See, that's funny because I feel like when I first started hearing about Pandora and first checked it out, I felt like it was wrong about me. And so that painted my kind of perception of Pandora over the years. And now I realize like I probably just didn't train it long enough. But that initial experience was enough to just kind of like permanently mark in my brain. And so I haven't used Pandora as much compared to some of the other things. It's just like I tried it, didn't work for me. So I never really went back to it. Gave it a fair shake.
So, yeah, it's you.
Yeah, it's me. Problems right in here. Yep.
Apple has announced its apps of the year, including the most downloaded app, which was Snapchat, because this was the year that all the old people discovered it. Apple has also made a list of the favorite apps of the year, including filter app Prisma, Sketchbook Motion for iPad, Twitter for Apple TV, which is awesome, My Swim Pro, personal swim trainer for Apple Watch, and Bayer for Mac. Clash Royale was the best game this year for the iPhone. Severed was the best game for the iPad. Riptide GP Renegade for the Apple TV. And Field Day for the Apple Watch. Also, Life is Strange for Mac. So
no Pokemon Go in there?
Pokemon Go was the third most downloaded app. So it was, Snapchat beat out Facebook Messenger and Pokemon Go.
Wow.
So yeah, it was third, which was pretty interesting.
But it didn't make any like best of lists. It didn't make like best game or whatever. Like Clash Royale beat out Pokemon Go. Man, Pokemon Go was on fire, and then it just kind of.
It was probably on the list. It just wasn't the number one.
Yeah.
On any
it was there
of the lists that I looked up. So Google Play also came out with.
Yeah, apparently, and I missed this, and it was I think it was a few days ago. So this isn't like new news, but again, Prisma, best app of the year. Just a few notables from my going through. Nuzzle is in there. Mitomo, which Mitomo was neat for a couple of days, and then I got bored of it pretty quickly. Google Duo, which is Google's kind of new approach for video calling, is on there. So they're giving themselves a call out on that, I guess. Masquerade or MSQRD, which I love. That's like face warping, face changing app. So much fun. I think Facebook owns it now. Triller, which I had a lot of fun with. That's where you can create your own music videos. You record start to finish all of these takes, and then it randomly cuts together, and then you can go in and kind of play with the cuts and everything. It's a lot of fun to mess around with that one. And then, of course, My Little Pony, Harmony Quest. I've never played that. I've never played that, Megan.
You're not a brony.
Stop looking at me like that. I've never played My Little Pony Harmony Quest.
It's okay to be a brony, you know.
I don't even know what a brony is.
Good, because I called it a pony bro on iOS Today the other day, and everyone in the room was shocked that I didn't know what a brony was.
No, I actually do know what a brony is, and pony bro is pretty hilarious.
I think pony bro sounds better, and I'm gonna stick it. That's my goal. That's my New Year's resolution for 2017. Change brony to pony bro.
Pony bro is really good. I kind of almost wish it was actually that.
It will be.
But it's brony. And now you know that exists. Coming up, we get serious about space poo. But first, let's take a minute to thank LinkedIn Learning and lynda.com. They're the sponsor of this episode. LinkedIn acquired lynda.com to bring you LinkedIn Learning. It's personalized, expert-led, on-demand e-learning from LinkedIn. LinkedIn Learning is now offering a free course, Managing Technical Projects, led by project management expert Bob McGannon. Technical projects have a unique set of needs and challenges. New technology has to be researched. Downtime has to be kept to a minimum. The organization must be helped to adapt to all that change. In the course, McGannon discusses specific approaches to mitigating the risks and challenges commonly found with technology projects. He presents specific challenges for you to explore, including possible conflicts with stakeholders and vendors. McGannon also reviews case studies to bring concepts to life. So you can pair your solutions with McGannon's recommendations to just kind of see how your project management skills actually compare. Don't miss this awesome course and the more than 9,000 courses currently available at LinkedIn Learning. Team solutions are available for as low as $2,000 per year. LinkedIn Learning will identify the precise skills your organization needs to achieve set goals and will create personalized recommendations using LinkedIn Network Intelligence. Their library offers a wide range of business, creative, and technology courses taught by world-class industry experts. You can learn anytime, anywhere, wherever you happen to be, on any device, online and offline, so you're never left in the cold. Their bite-sized videos provide immediate problem solving and are the best way to help team members kind of close a skills gap without interrupting your latest project. So get your free Managing Technical Projects course and request a demo for your organization today by visiting learning.linkedin.com/twit. That's learning.linkedin.com/twit. And we thank LinkedIn Learning for their support of Tech News Today. So this is the part of the show where we get serious about things you might take for granted, like space poo. Joining us to talk about this and a whole lot more is Carrie Davis from Engadgets, in case you missed it. How's it going, Carrie?
I'm great. I'm practicing my serious space poo face.
That's it. Man, you nailed it. You have a lot of practice here. So set the stage. Where do we stand currently when it comes to astronauts and the number 2?
All right. First, I feel like it's very important that we take a historical perspective. When Neil Armstrong was the first human to walk on the moon, and we were all very excited, he may have said, you know, this is one small step for poo kind, because he was probably doing some business in his pants, which is fine. Did you know that all astronauts have to wear diapers currently, today? Ever since then, back in the 1960s, they wear diapers because, you know, we've not advanced. I mean, so that's where NASA needs you. NASA and Hero X are joining up to offer I think it's $30,000 prize for anyone who can help solve the giant space poo problem. It's called the Space Poop Challenge. I love how they just own the name.
I would completely agree. Mm-hmm. You might as well.
You may as well. The fact that they kept the font purple and not, you know, brown or something. Anyways, we're mature adults. So what they need is help building something that will help take away either urine, poop, or blood, because women are astronauts too, for up to 6 days. Because as you'd imagine, having to sit in your own business for up to 6 days is actually really bad for your health. So they need to, you know, let the astronauts be up there and be safe. And just in case something goes bad, something needs to be designed to take away the business for up to 6 days without using hands. So that's their request from the world. Get on it.
The business. I like that. Yeah, it sounds like a large part of this is that, you know, if we're ever going to go to Mars, we've got a long distance ahead of us. And that's a lot of poo.
That's more than 6 days.
Yes, that's true. Why crowdsourcing on something like this? I have to imagine there's a lot of smart people who have created, I mean, everything that we talk about when we're talking about space travel. Does this particular thing need to be crowdsourced, do you think?
You know, I think they're stumped. But fun fact, which I really enjoyed while reading up on this story because I genuinely can't get enough, is that because of NASA, that's the reason we have the diaper technology we have now, was when NASA was figuring out how to deal with this, you know, step 1 version. That's why we have the high quality diapers we have. So who knew? Thanks, NASA. So yeah, they need some help. It needs to be some sort of system that can deal with microgravity to take it all away. So that's the challenge.
We should mention that you better get on this if you're interested. Put away any of the holiday tasks you had, because the deadline is December 20th.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely right.
So.
Yeah, nobody wants your holiday card anyways. Do something important with your time.
Yeah.
I mean, you could describe in your holiday letter what you've been working on, which would be amazing, but...
If somebody writes that in their holiday card, please mail it to me. That's what I want to read.
Absolutely. I think we all want to get that letter too. We turn now to drones, which until now anyways, has been more or less a company designs the thing, you buy the thing. Now MIT is democratizing drone customization for people. Carrie, what exactly is MIT offering here?
Well, first of all, every time I see an MIT story, I'm like, well, of course they figured that out. MIT, man, they're so smart. Yeah. So their computer science and artificial intelligence lab, which is often on the forefront of a lot of things. I subscribe to them on YouTube. I get their PR pitches, and I'm always happy to put them in the show I host because they're always doing cool things. So they came up with this. It's almost a CAD-like system to build a custom drone. So it's not, as you said, just sort of buying what's available. You can sort of put together all of these weird in this model, these weird shapes. They said when they were testing it, they put together something called a bunny copter. So, arms at weird angles and kind of rotors all over the place. And then coolest of all is that before it's actually physically printed within the system, because they're smart, and physicists and stuff, you can actually see whether your design will fly within the system. So if there are any sort of abnormalities with sort of where you've angled things, it'll show you before you even spend the money to build it. So they're smart.
Who exactly is this for? Is this for just me? I'm a drone enthusiast, and I've always wanted to make my own drone. Cool, I can now. Is that what this?
Wouldn't that be great? I think so. It's early days yet, and they've not said like here's the system. You can do it now. They're actually presenting all of this research and this program they built. I believe it's next week at a conference. So it's not quite out there yet, but when it is, absolutely, why not? There are drone enthusiasts who I'm sure would be thrilled to get to play with this thing. Yeah, look at that odd purple shape. I think that's the bunny drone, and that's me.
Which we will forever call you the bunny drone from now on. It reminds me of Kerbal Space Program, which is a video game where it's approved by NASA, and you put together rockets to see if they can fly. You don't actually get to make the rockets, but it uses physics and engineering, and you can decide, and then you send these little Kerbals, which are these little cartoon people, up in space wearing their diapers or whatever.
You have to assume anyway.
And send them up there. So it's really cool to learn about physics and engineering, and so I hope that they do something with this soon.
Yeah, I sure hope they make it public. Wouldn't that be incredible? We, the three of us, should build an amazing drone with a pooping NASA astronaut on the top of it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But maybe.
It's a recurring theme in this show, so it's right at home. Finally, we actually did talk yesterday about Amazon's kind of their futuristic vision for grocery stores. Not so futuristic anymore because Amazon Go apparently is going to happen very soon. Carrie, you have thoughts on Amazon Go. Want to hear what you have to think about, what you think about this?
That is kind of you. I feel like you're distracting me from the NASA story, which is always in my heart. First of all, did you see that? I think it was Fortune dug up this Intel video from about 16 years ago that showed the very same thing. It was from a point of view of somebody shopping in a grocery store, and it looks like he's stealing because he just walks out. And then Intel's like, oh, ho, ho. Not so. This is the future. So definitely the idea, like before we give Amazon all the credit, which we should give them a lot of credit, the idea has been around. But to me, and I'm curious to hear what you all think, do you remember the movie Enemy of the State with Will Smith and Gene Hackman?
I remember that there was a movie, but I don't remember anything specifically from it. Do you, Megan?
I feel like I reference that movie all the time in the work we do on In Case You Missed It, because, basically that movie I feel like predicts a lot of the things. Of course, there are many, but it predicts a lot of the things we talk about every day. And in that movie, Will Smith walks into, I think he's like walking by a lingerie store or something, and they recognize the AI recognizes him and calls him over. And so, while I think this is cool, thank you, Amazon, for coming up with this idea. It's all cute and harmless when we're using it for our own good, right? But how can technology like this be used in ways that are not so shopping friendly, that are more invasive and could hurt people's sort of personal security and right to not be known in a public space? And so when I see stuff like this, I know everyone's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I also think it's interesting and neat. And of course I'd use it. God, nobody wants to stand in line and wait to get checked out or pay some money. But the thing I keep thinking about is how this could be used in the future. Freaks me out a little bit.
I mean, that seems to be a common theme around technology in general and kind of the current state of where technology has been over, let's say, the past 10 years. I mean, at least since the introduction of the smartphone, where all of us have this computer in our pocket, and over the years, it's grown to do more and more and more things. And it's that delicate balance of, convenience. These things are really convenient. It improves my life in so many ways, coupled with the idea that with that convenience comes a lot of release around things that you might have held dear to your heart, around things like privacy, where you go, what you do, your actions, your habits, all that kind of stuff. We trade that as currency for these things, but you're right. I mean, you never really know exactly where that leads at the end of the road.
And it's also true that privacy is becoming really expensive. So, it's more, it costs money to have certain things that that are more private. So you can imagine, like, if, it was cheaper to shop in this Amazon grocery store, and, well, if I want my privacy, I'll go shop at, the more expensive store where they don't know me. So again, once again, it's more and more things. Privacy is becoming a luxury, and, that's not the kind of world I want to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. It also quickly reminds me of, I saw President Obama speak at South by Southwest this last year, which was incredible because it was a small amphitheater kind of seating arrangement. And you're like, he's right there. Oh my God. And so his big call to arms for the tech community there was, build things that matter. And I'd never thought about it that way, quite that way before. And so I read some stat in relation to this Amazon Go thing about, only it's something like a third of adults in America don't have a smartphone. Like our people, of course, like the people we interact with, we're connected, we're tech folk. It's crazy to imagine people who don't have smartphones, but apparently a third of Americans don't. And so they wouldn't be able to shop at a store like this. And so it just makes you think about like what we're creating and for what audience.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, this segment got really deep, really fast there at the end. It started with space poo and ended with where are we headed?
We can always go back to space poop.
We don't need to.
I'm sure we will have many more opportunities to bring you back and talk about space poo. Carrie Davis, in case you missed it, at Engadget. Really appreciate you coming back and hanging out with us for a little bit.
Thanks, guys. Great talking to you.
Absolutely. Have a great evening.
Take
We'll see
care.
you later.
After the break, we're celebrating Computer Science Education Week with former Microsoft evangelist and current Microsoft.NET program manager Maria Nagaga. But first, let's take a minute to thank Blue Apron, the sponsor of this episode. Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Their mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone, while at the same time supporting a more sustainable food system, setting the highest standards for ingredients, and building a community of home chefs. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with fresh, high-quality ingredients to make delicious, home-cooked meals. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and then pre-portioned ingredients that can be prepared in 40 minutes or sometimes even less. You can save time and money. Shopping at the grocery store is 60% more expensive than Blue Apron. And if you spend a lot of time eating out or you shop at all those high-end grocery chains, you can now spend under $10 per person for healthy home-cooked meals. You can customize your recipes every week based on your dietary preferences, and you can choose a delivery option that fits your needs. There's no weekly commitment, so you can get deliveries only when you want them. Blue Apron delivers to 99% of the continental U.S. Blue Apron sets the highest quality standards for their community of over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. Now, Blue Apron not only supports a more sustainable food system, it also supports happy and healthy families, because cooking together builds strong family bonds, and research shows that Blue Apron families cook nearly 3 times more often. Okay, so maybe you're a fantastic cook and your refrigerator and pantry is filled with everything you need to cook, but maybe you know someone who doesn't have such a beautifully organized pantry as you do. For example, someone like me who does not like to cook, does not find time for shopping. This would be a perfect holiday gift for that family member or friend in your life. New recipes are created every week by Blue Apron's culinary team, and they're not repeated within a year. Here's some of the menus that you might see in your Blue Apron box. Roasted pork and braised cabbage with barley and glazed apples, Thai green coconut curry with sweet potato and jasmine rice, brown butter and chestnut gnocchi with Brussels sprouts and pea shoot salad. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping just by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. Don't forget to add the twit so they know we sent you. And we thank Blue Apron for their support of Tech News Today. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. It is Computer Science Education Week, which means the Hour of Code is in full swing. In honor of the global movement to teach kids and adults to code, we welcome Maria Nagaga, Program Manager at Microsoft on the Visual Studio and .NET teams. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on. So Maria has been an active participant in the Hour of Code activities for several years. Currently, she's responsible for bringing new developers onto the .NET Core platform. Microsoft released the .NET Core 1.0 this past summer. Let's start by giving us a brief overview of what that is.
Okay, so about 2 years ago, we open sourced .NET, and I am responsible for bringing net new developers .NET Core. So what .NET Core means is that now you can use .NET on Mac, on Linux, on Windows. So be happy where you are, and now you can use .NET everywhere, which is a huge thing for us, and we've seen some really good uptake. I think one of the biggest things that we've seen this year is how fast ASP.NET is, where we are up to 1.6 million requests per second. So we've been doing some good work, and a lot of that has come from the community. So we're pretty excited about that at Microsoft.
So in the past, when you were working on Hour of Code projects, what kind of programs did you work on?
So I worked on a couple. So before becoming a PM, I was a technical evangelist, and that gave me the opportunity to test new things. And one of the things I got really passionate about was teaching kids how to code. So some of the things I use is gaming is really, really popular with students because you grab their attention immediately. So I moved from Scratch to GameMaker, which is one of my favorites because it's a lot of drag and drop, and also writing little lines of code, which gets them excited about it. And Young Game Makers, which was such a huge thing that a friend of mine, Stacey Mulcahy, started a little bit over a year ago. What she started doing was inviting industry people to come and teach kids how to code. And all the money we would raise, we'd actually give it to after-school programs that will teach people how to code in addition to that. So I used to participate in the ones in New York, but she did some in Vancouver, in London, I believe, all across the United States. So it was a really good effort, and I can't wait for that to start up again. So hopefully we'll be having more of those.
I love what you guys are doing here. It's super cool. I feel like as a parent, we're used to, and you know, you feel this pressure a little bit as a parent, where it's like, got to get my children active in some way. You know, got to put them into sports so that they can play these sports and figure out the thing that they're really good at or that they really enjoy, and they can really excel at that. Taking that into the realm of coding, like when and how do you get children kind of engaged and involved in this sort of way? Well, I mean, I have to imagine there's kind of an age at which this is more effective than others, because you have to be a certain age to understand how to code to a certain degree. But what would you say there?
So I have actually taught kids as young as 5, and I always experiment on my nephew, which my sister is happy to do because she'll just dump him over at my house and say, bye, see you later. But yeah, I think like anywhere between 5, I would start them off with something like Scratch, and just know that you'll have 15-minute time windows in which you have their attention, but enjoy those 15 minutes. But 8 was a really great age as well, because they've kind of understand how apps are. They have their games that they like Angry Birds is a big one, and then those Flappy Birds. For my nephew personally, it's Dots. He loves the Dots game, and now he's at a level 141. So I had to cut him off and say, you can't play that game anymore until you can build a full game now. So it's all about how you approach it. Also, figure out the best way to teach the kids is also very important. One of the things I learned was don't use PowerPoints with kids, just go straight into code. Because if you try to give them like a PowerPoint and like, this is what code is, and this is when it was discovered, and these are all the people who are influential, it's nap time.
Yeah.
So I found that just by opening up whatever tool they're going to use and just showing them is really, really, really huge. I've taught kids as young as 10 how to build games in JavaScript with Phaser, with Black Girls Code. So it really is just make sure you have them in the tool as soon as possible. Also, make sure you're introducing them to tools that are easily accessible. That's another big thing, is that I try to pick tools that I know that they can either get at school or they can get at, because that I used to use a lot was Scratch Online. And then I had one student who told me, I don't have internet at home. So making sure that you're able to create an environment where every student can go away feeling happy and being able to continue this work afterwards.
And so what would you recommend for teaching adults, someone who's looking for a career change or looking to brush up their skills? Where should someone start if they're starting at the beginning of learning to code?
Oh, which is really cool, because a thing I do at Microsoft now is, in addition to being a PM, I'm also responsible for bringing net new developers onto the platform. So that has also been a huge eye opener for me of where do you start people like who are trying to change careers? So I'm involved with boot camps across the country. So I think that the web is a really great place to start. And the reason why I think the web is good is that you're exposed to everything. You have to learn how backends work. You see your results immediately, and you also get exposure to all these different frameworks, because anything works on the web. Like you can go from .NET to Ruby to Python, and then also thinking about what does the job market have to offer. I have a couple of people who I know have gone through boot camps, and they've graduated in particular stacks that are oversaturated now. So if you're really into learning how to code and you're doing it for a job, kind of do your research on what jobs are available in your area, and kind of figure out how you can find a boot camp near you that offers you that opportunity to learn that stack.
Now, how did you get your start in computer science?
Oh, I started late. Like whenever I talk to people about my story, they're like, oh, I started programming when I was 8. No, that wasn't me. I started programming when I was 22. And I discovered the programming by accident. So I was in an internet cafe, which doesn't exist anymore. Like I don't think, like internet cafes don't exist anymore.
Every cafe is an internet cafe now. They just all have internet.
Starbucks, they all have internet, but you used to go and you used to pay for 30 minutes and use it efficiently. And at that time, I was obsessed with Destiny's Child. I'm now obsessed with Beyonce, but at that time was Destiny's Child. So I accidentally right-clicked on the site, the Destiny Child site, and I was like, what is all this stuff? And it was HTML, it was all this markup, it was all this stuff. So I had a flash drive that had 25 megabytes, which was a lot in those days. And I saved it and I took it home onto my computer that didn't have the internet, and it showed up as an Internet Explorer sign. And I was like, what is this? Opened it up and it looked like the website, but it wasn't. So I started playing around with the markup and realized how to put things together. And then the first language I truly learned, because HTML just stumbled into it, it was SQL. My first language ever was SQL, because you could query against information and get results back, and you could do all this cool math stuff. And this was all in Access. So I wasn't a fancy programmer until I went to university to do computer science.
So your advice is to kids, right click.
Right click. Don't be afraid to break stuff. So a lot of people, one of the things I've learned with my nephew is that he'll be like, oh, don't do that. You'll break it. You'll break it. And I'm like, it's okay. Break it, destroy it. Like you always have to write code knowing that you'll have to throw it away. And that's okay. Like that's how we learn. So don't be afraid to break stuff. Don't be afraid to learn new things. Don't look at particular languages and think they're too hard for you. So I hear a lot of things like C# is too hard and Java is too hard and Python's, no, these are all within your reach. Go give them a try. There's nothing that's hard. As long as you put in the work, you're gonna do just fine.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining us. Maria Nagaga is a PM at Microsoft. Where's the best place for people to follow you online?
I am at Lady Nagaga.
Ha, I like it.
Exactly, right? You'll never forget my name with that. So I'm Lady Nagaga. Please tweet me if you want any information about how do I get started with young kids, or any of the work that I'm doing with reaching net new developers. If you have a boot camp out there and you want to introduce .NET or C# and you need support, you actually get support from someone who builds a product every single day. So let me know and I'm happy to help.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria. You are awesome. Thank you for coming
Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
All right, take care. Have a good night. TNT's fan of the day is Dante St. James on Twitter, who says this, quote, is how I watch Tech News Today in my home office on the Gold Coast of Australia each day. I'm jealous. I want to go to Australia really bad. So who knows? Maybe someday I'll go to the Gold Coast and I'll go, whoa, it's Dante. Show us how you I don't know.
Or maybe you could meet Bleak in our chat room. He's also from Australia.
Oh, that's
maybe
right.
he'll let you stay with him.
There's so many people that I need to meet in Australia. Now I have to go. Show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup. Post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook and use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and we will find it. Up next, we have parrots, 3D printed goggles, and lasers. It's just what you wanted. But first, let's take a minute to thank Tracker. They are the sponsor of this episode. It's that time of year. Don't lose your luggage, your valuable gifts before you get to give them to whoever gets those gifts this holiday season. Tracker makes losing things a thing of the past. I'm going to tell you how to get one for free. The Tracker Bravo locates misplaced keys, wallets, luggage, instruments, bicycles, electronic devices, even pets, basically everything in seconds. The coin-sized device is constructed with anodized aluminum for the thinnest, most durable tracking. You can easily attach it to pretty much anything. It has a key loop. It also has adhesive, so you can stick it to things if you like. Tracker is enabled by Bluetooth LE, so the battery lasts a long time, up to a full year. You can add a laser engraved message to each Tracker Bravo, things like return information or pet information for the caller. And you can now personalize your tracker with a custom printed image to really set it apart. Help loved ones keep track of their new gadgets. Trackers make excellent stocking stuffers. They fit right in there, and then they can use them for whatever they want. Pair Tracker to your iOS or Android device and find its precise location with a tap of a button, and that's really it. Your phone can track up to 10 devices at one time, and you can customize two-way separation alerts so you're notified before you leave your item behind. If you happen to lose your phone, all you have to do is press the button on Tracker, and your phone will ring even if it's on silent. With over 3.5 million devices shipped, Tracker has the largest crowd GPS network in the world, so your lost item is going to show up on a map even if it's miles away. If you lose your item, the Tracker app records its last known location on a map, so when another Tracker user comes within a 100-foot range of your item, you're going to receive a GPS update of where your item is located. Hopefully you can go, swipe it up, and don't lose that thing again. Go to thetracker.com right now and never lose your possessions again. Plus, just for our audience, if you enter promo code TNT, you're going to get a free Tracker Bravo with your order. So that is TheTracker.com, promo code TNT to get your free Tracker Bravo today. And we thank them for their support. So in an effort to expand on our knowledge of how birds fly, a little parrot named Obi-Wan Kenobi, no fooling, agreed to wear a tiny pair of 3D printed safety goggles, as much as a bird could agree to do that, and spent months learning to fly from one perch to another while passing through a field of lasers, like a flattened field of lasers. No parrots were harmed in this experiment, thankfully. The goggles made sure of that. In doing so, researchers were actually able to capture high-speed 3D video of the flight, revealing the little air tornado patterns that are created with their wing movement. Slow it all down. They can analyze how the air particles kind of move around those fast wing movements. And basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to, I guess current calculations, their current methods for calculating things like lift are often very randomly inaccurate. And so they feel like by analyzing this, slowing it down, and really, checking it out closer than they have before, they can possibly figure out why there's those inaccuracies and come up with a better calculation. Maybe that, results in better flying objects, better flying robots, that sort of thing.
Those robots would have to have the tiny 3D printed goggles too, right? Because this isn't really
because they're
how
really
any
cool
bird,
looking.
Yeah, and it's not how any bird flies. It's how birds with tiny goggles fly.
That's true. Maybe it changes their flight pattern.
Well,
I hadn't
would
thought
think.
of that.
I mean, and this made me think too, because one of the students came up with the idea to put on the goggles, and you think about we've been experimenting on animals in science for a long time.
Yes.
So thank you, animals. But if there were all kinds of, if we've been protecting them in these certain ways, imagine what that might have meant. And I didn't mean to go down that road, but let's just admit I love this story because of the goggles.
Yeah,
the science
goggles,
is just extra.
I mean, let's be honest. Everyone should wear these goggles. Mm-hmm. So maybe what we're doing is we're starting a new trend, and it started with the parrots, and they're making us realize that we need those goggles too. And all we have instead are Snapchat spectacles.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
you know, it's a give and take
right.
in the animal kingdom.
If we could get the Snapbot, like the vending machine, to sell those tiny goggles.
Oh, that would be great. There could be a line of like 200 parrots all waiting their turn, waiting out in the cold for 5 hours. There we go. They are really nice goggles, though. Seriously. TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us. That's TNT@twit.tv. You can leave us a short voicemail, 260-TNT-SHOW. And you can find us on Twitter. We are at Tech News Today TV.
Show your allegiance, please, to Twit with our new Twit Army gear. These shirts and hoodies are designed by the Twit staff, and they come in a variety of colors. And if you order before December 15th, the shirts will arrive before the Christmas holiday, if that's a holiday that you celebrate. Go to teespring.com/twit to order yours today.
I like the look of the sweatshirt. I mean, they all look good, but that sweatshirt
Is that on your holiday list?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Good to know. I've been thinking. And,
oh, okay. Yes.
To get you.
It definitely is.
I like diamonds.
Noted.
Okay. You can find all the ways to subscribe to our show by going to twit.tv/TNT. And if you want to tweet at me about what animals you think need tiny goggles to protect them from lasers, I am at Megan Maroney.
And I'm at Jason Howell. Thanks to our technical director, Kara Cole. Thanks to Jammer B for scrolling words on the screen, always helping out. Thanks to Kevin for editing. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. We will see y'all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.